Hey everyone, welcome to our final positioned ratings video of the preseason. We've made our way from goalkeepers to defenders to mids, and now we are on to the forwards, rating our top five forwards for the start of our Serie fantasy season. If you've been liking these videos so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe, but we will get started right away. Starting with number 5, Luka Jovic at 6.6 mil. I think that his value has gone up now that Cabral has gone. He should be a consistent starter, not sharing time as much. Let's not forget that he was a striker for Real Madrid. He has, I think, more to give than he gave last season. And towards the second half of the season, he was a lot better than at the start. So he did have a bit of a slow starting transition to Serie A, but I think he's found his place a little more. And as maybe a third striker that you can bench sometimes, that's not a bad option. To allow more money to be used elsewhere and to have three potentially playing strikers. Number 4, Tammy Abraham. A player that I started with last year that didn't produce exactly how I wanted. He's 8.0 for this year. He's a good striker, and Roma has really good opening fixtures. Someone that I am strongly considering switching to in one way or another. He's relatively nailed on as a starting striker, but kind of like how I explained Leao in the midfielders video, he can be streaky at times, do really poor for a bit, and then get multiple returns in a short amount of games as well. At 8.0 mil, I don't think he's in the premium price bracket, so it's a good price point for him. And this may allow more funds to be spread throughout either your midfield, defense, or to upgrade the keeping position. I have to put Ciro Immobile on there for sure. I consider him Mr. Serie. He just every year does well no matter what. Another year older, doesn't matter. Gets injured a bunch, doesn't matter. He still ends up towards the top of the charts for fantasy Serie. He's on penalties when he's there. Like it's not always often that he gets really big hauls, but you can almost count on him for a goal a game at least. Downside is that he's injury prone, but at the 10.6 price point, it's easy to move those funds elsewhere. And he is cheaper than usual, which is nice. Normally, he is the premium attacker. Not this year. I think there's two above him. And so it's down at 10.6, so affordable with other premium players as well. I think he's someone that I will be starting the season with. We'll see. It's probably a toss-up between Immobile and Abraham as to who my kind of secondary striker will be. Lautaro Martinez has to be at number 2. He's definitely the top or like the best inter striker, although is susceptible to rotation sometimes. But what is good and that I found about Martinez last year is even if he doesn't start, he ends up playing the game, and oftentimes, even as a sub on, he'll end up scoring. He often takes penalties. And Inter are projected to do very well this year, and you can't do very well without scoring goals. So they're projected to score lots of goals, potentially go on to win the title this year. And if they do, Lautaro Martinez will have to be a big part of that, which we know he can be. And I don't think it is any surprise as to who the number 1 forward selection, from my point of view, and probably a lot of people's point of view is. We have Victor Osimhen. I think it's really good for not only Napoli, but the league that Napoli was able to hold both Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia during the transfer window right now. It does show that Serie A is a league that are keeping and buying players rather than a player gets good and gets sold on. So that's really good for the league. But for me, this was an easy number 1 decision. I mean, I bet most people could have probably guessed that Immobile, Lautaro Martinez, and Osimhen would be a top 3. And he's just the focal point of the Napoli attack, constant starter. Yes, he's 12 mil, the most expensive, tied for most expensive player and most expensive forward. But he is worth the price tag. By getting Osimhen, that probably means you won't be getting Kvaratskhelia, because to get both of those players at 12 mil each might start running the rest of your team thin. But I just think it's an easy decision for me here. to have Osimhen on my team, and he was probably the first locked-in player that I have. And unless he gets injured in training beforehand, I can't see my team not having him to start the year off. What do you think about that? Would you put more of your money? I mean, like Lautaro Martinez was only 11 mil, so you could save the mil and bet on Lautaro to almost at least keep up with Osimhen. Could happen for sure. Um, but I don't know, just with how good Napoli were last year, I'm gonna at least start with Osimhen. And at least if he starts by not doing well, first of all, there's no price reduction, so you don't have to worry about that. And you could literally go to any other forward. It's a very easy swap to Osimhen to Lautaro Martinez if you get worried. So another thing just to keep in mind there. Okay. Let me know what you think of the strikers. Obviously, there are strikers such as Vlahovic. Dia had a better season than a player like Jovic last year, but because of that price point, he would almost be a really good third striker to ensure that you have someone that can sub in if one of your original strikers don't play the game for whatever reason. So a couple of these videos, yes, there are other better players, but that's not just what I'm going off here. It's best options for fantasy at the end of the day. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, comment what you think below, and if you disagree at all. And we'll see you for some different preseason videos going forward. Take care.